And it is, beloved masters, that in these most august times, the energy of magic that has been bound away from humanity, set aside, held apart by the belief in illusion. And it is that magic is now returning. The bonds that have held it away are breaking. The wards that have been set against it are coming to their completion. And revelation is bringing all of humanity to a place where, if they are willing to be still, to be quiet, to feel within, they will begin to experience magic with a C, today's technological understanding, science, all of the things that humanity has considered magical, blending as a golden thread is brought full circle with the magic with a K, so that magic will be spelled Magick. And it is that brings in the elements of the modern and the ancient. And it is that there was a time when what has been considered separate was truly included, and there are some who remember Magick, Magick. But in these times, it is new. And you don't really learn magic as you would learn a subject in school, because the energy of spirit is not about memory work. We talk about remembering, but that remembering is not an intellectual process. To ask yourself, who am I? And you hear it. And you hear it, and you hear it, and you hear it. You've heard it for years. Find yourself. Who are you? And you talk to yourself about who you are, what you desire, what you intend to do, to create. But we talk about feeling, making a connection within yourself to that place where the intellectual mind absolutely is required to blend with spirit. And the mind does not choose to blend. So people make all manner of pronouncements, affirmations, saying what they've been taught, what they've been told, for years, perhaps even a few lifetimes. But when you come to that place where there are no words, where it is feeling, where it is pure connection, there, dearly beloved masters, you find yourself. You touch into the majesty of all that you are. You remember how you have been from the beginning, because in that place where there are no thoughts to distract or words to define, it is in that place there truly is all of the wisdom, all of the clarity, all of the understanding of how spirit functions within you. And connecting to spirit isn't something you're trying to accomplish. It isn't something you have to do. It isn't something that you haven't done yet. Because the mind always puts those qualifiers. I'm not there yet. And in that place of no words, you can forgive, qualifying, which allows you to maintain the limitations that you've been programmed to live in for many lifetimes. In that place with no words, where it's all about feeling, and the feeling speaks to you, but it isn't the intellectual process of staying distant from self, being an observer but not a participant, or thinking about all the things you have to do in order to qualify to be a divine creative master. Because everything in the illusion has been about being good enough, being smart enough, being rich enough, being beautiful enough, being good enough. And in that place, with no words, where the magic of the ancient and the magic of now come together within you, it is as though a spark is ignited. The energy is that of illumination, like a brilliant light cast out over dark water, the hidden secret places of self that you haven't allowed or been allowed to touch in so long. So as the magic of the ancient blends with the magic of now to become 1,000-fold more powerful magic than has been before. And this magic, as it has always been, is created in love, with love, by love, from love. There are always minds who are looking for someone who has made that discovery of what is the magic. What is it? And how can I use that magic to manipulate, to control, to overpower, to disillusion, to terrify, to abuse? And yet the magic is created of love. So those that seek to abuse that energy, to take it for themselves, to claim they own it and that others cannot have it, are more and more quickly now in these times being subject to the power of karmic law. As the magic returns, karma brings balance in many places where there has not been balance in thousands of years. And those who have held their power through persecution and pain, through fear and intimidation, are being revealed. And even the fear that has held humanity to be quiet about what they know, especially in the patriarchal order, women have been taught virtually from their mother's womb to keep quiet. Do not speak of what you know. And there have always been those who would speak out. But in the illusion, their voice was quickly stilled, and no other voices joined them. And now, as the magic is liberated, as that power of love, and humanity has been psychologically programmed to believe that magic is only of darkness, that it is only of evil, that it is only to bring pain. And that has kept the vast majority of humanity very afraid of the power of magic. And yet, as it awakens within you, you become very aware more aware than perhaps you've been in so long that you can't remember. You become very aware in that place where there are no words, but you feel the magnitude of your connection with your divine self, with God. And in that feeling, it's almost as though you understand in ways that you could not understand before how much your choices create the life you're living, how much your choices influence the world that you are creating, how much your choices can assist others to come to know, to understand, to love themselves. Because remembering the magic and the influence of magic's returning and the power of love that is being poured out and revealed in humanity and the fear that so many hold, that love is going to take something from them, that it will destroy them, that it can end a dream. But you were not created in the beginning to have dreams, only to have them dashed. You were created to create. You were designed by the divine as a co-creator with God, a co-creator. And there are many who find themselves with a great passion to surpass God. And very often their desperation to prove they are worthy by being more than the divine turns to terrible grief and guilt and destructive emotions. And the magic, like an amazing power of healing, goes out on those deep waters within the sacred place. And it enlightens, illumines the recognition of love within self. Feel it. It feels like a warm fire on a hearth. It feels like a good meal on the belly. It brings that glow of comfort, security, belonging, that a good glass of wine can bring. wine that was made in the ancient times was thick with the elemental energies of fruit that comes from the earth and is treated with loving respect. That the fruit was handled by human hands. And very often the skins were broken to release the juice by the feet of women. Women who loved to dance. And dance they would upon the grapes and the berries that would create the wine, so that wine was not just an element to escape the woes of life, to fall into drunkenness and debauch, but it literally fed the blood, supported the heart, energized the organs, and all of the systems of glandular, of brain function, the nervous system. The wine was really very much like a healing balm. And so it enriched the experience rather than taking people away from the experience. The wine contributed to the magic, not because it made things appear to be something they're not, but because it clarified, uniting, aligning the chakras so that people literally could see with a greater sense of reality. And they could see beyond the illusion. So now, as the magic returns, as love imbues every being, awakens every soul. And of course, the logical mind has a million questions about if these things are so, if humanity is being awakened, if the soul is being informed, then why isn't everyone changing? Oh, they are. Why aren't they living the love? Because it takes courage to let the love in. When the programming that you have received, that has been passed through the illusion from generation to generation, has been love is suspect. Love has been moved into a place where it is primarily aligned with sexual involvement. And yet, very often, human beings can come together in a sexual manner, and there's very little, if any, love involved with it. There are people who can love deeply, who are not involved sexually with anyone, and yet still they love. The love of a parent for a child, or a child for the parent. The love of friends. The love of those that you appreciate and admire. The love of those that you respect. And yet, all of that love, very much like a religious experience, is held apart while the logical mind questions the possibility that such a thing could be real. People have spiritual experiences, and the logical mind requires so many pieces of testimony of people that were there when the experience occurred, and if no one was there to witness it, then there is a great deal of doubt and suspicion cast on whether the experience actually happened. And now, beloved masters, as the magic returns, as you connect to that inner sacred space beyond words that has no judgment, that doesn't make decisions based on like and dislike, but feels the truth. And in that space, you can feel the truth without judgment. There doesn't have to be a defense, an explanation, making excuses for them. Oh, they were wounded, or they didn't know any better, or they weren't educated. Spirit simply recognizes the truth, which is unadulterated by opinion or what I was told or what they said, because that truth of which we speak lives in you, along with the love and the magic. And as you courageously open yourself to let all of that power be conscious, to be clear, it changes your very perspective on life. Much of the desperate need that humanity experiences simply fades away in that honesty, in that intrinsic beauty of magic and love, joining the blending of self with self and creating a whole new level of relationships.